Right, hello people. I believe we are live. I need to just check on my phone as to what is going on here. So I apologise if I mess anything up. If we aren't live, then I don't know what's going on. But no, it's not letting me get my chat up. Can someone say something if we're live? It looks all okay on my end. I just need to re-navigate to the main screen. If not, then it's all good. But how do I get back to the main screen? If I can't, well, it's a bit of a stinker, really. But I don't really know how I get off of this. Brilliant. Okay. Well, we'll just get on with it. Anyway, hello, people. How are we all doing? Welcome to the first YouTube live stream on the channel. I've been wanting to do this for a while. However, YouTube for some reason had me banned from doing live streams. I don't know why. I contacted them on Twitter about a week ago, and they managed to fix it. So I thought it'd be a good thing to do. Give you a bit of an update on what's going to be happening with the channel over the summer, come the end of the video. But obviously before that, we'll be talking all things Cheltenham and all the best bits from this season. But welcoming everyone, I do hope we're all doing well. I just want to try and get back to this main screen. But in the meanwhile, we will bring up our first topic, which is simply talking about the season. So, oh god, I've just opened up my own stream. If anything, actually, that might be a good idea. Right, let's do that. Okay, perfect. Okay, lovely. So, obviously, going into this season, the aim was to simply stay in the league, and obviously we have done that. We've had shaky times this season, obviously with, some dodgy results. We've had plenty of ups and downs throughout this season. But, we got the results that we needed, and then we did pick up some big results along the way, We've had the likes of home wins against Ipswich and Sunderland. We've also ground out difficult wins, or points against, tough sides. We've had a lot of, draws this season, which will happily take the points from the likes of Wigan, again, Ipswich. We've faced a lot of difficult opposition this season, and to say that we've managed to get our highest ever league finish is absolutely crazy. And, especially with the budget that we have, the budget that we had going into this season, everyone was tipping us to, finish bottom or go down. I don't think many people tipped us to stay up this season, and we've managed to once again surprise everyone and do exactly that. So yeah, it's crazy. But, welcoming everyone. Heard Wrexham linked. Right, okay, funny. So get a new goalkeeper. So we're gonna go on to the squad in general this season in a moment. It's just I kind of wanted to just go over the whole season in general. We've had some memorable moments. From the get-go, like that Ipswich game was very early on in the season, and no one expected us to come back from one goal down. But here we are. Highest ever league finish, like I say. And once again, we're going to be spending another season in League One. But I suppose there's not really much more to say based on this season. I think we'll just get on with kind of talking about the players in general and the squad and where we go from here going into next season. So what I've got that I want to talk about is ranking last summer's signings. Now, a lot of them were loanees, obviously. You've got the likes of Callum Wright coming back in, Matty Pollock on a loan deal, etc. Taylor Parry, of course, who then got injured and went back to Wolves for rehab. So unfortunately we didn't get to see too much of him, but in the time that he was here, he was absolutely fantastic. But this is going to be an interactive stream, so what we're going to do is for every summer signing, I am going to ask for your lads' rankings out of 10 of that player and why you think that, because that's what this live stream's all about. I want to start making the channel more interactive, so feel free to put any questions or any opinions in the chat, and I will try to read through as many of them as possible. Do you think we'll keep Alfie May? it's tough because we've had so many offers, but we're in a better position than we could have been. You know, he's still got, I think, 2 years left on his contract, maybe a year and a half. I'm not 100% sure, but there is a lot of clubs interested in him and a lot of clubs that are going to be willing to put good money on the table and are very, very appealing clubs to sign for. So part of me thinks maybe, but most of me thinks it's very unlikely they would be able to keep him. Let me just get up a little table of our summer signings, just so that I'm not forgetting anyone. Okay. Here we go. Right. Alpha Made Baller, long time no see. Hey Archie, how we doing? Welcoming everyone, like I say. So yeah, obviously, we'll start off with our first summer signing, who I believe was Owen Evans. I think he was the first signing. Now this is a big talking point, I think. The goalkeeper position has been a bit of a strange one this season. You know, you've got, you know, Flinders dipping in and out of the squad, Evans being on good form at times, but at the same time, neither of them have been really up to scratch. You know, the main reason for why we are in the league is because of the goals we've scored up the other end. We've leaked far too many goals this season, and it's as simple as that. You know, like I said earlier on, you look at, you know, the 5-0 losses, you know, the amount of times we've conceded 3 or 4 this season. It's simply, you know, if we want to be more comfortable and we don't have May going into next season, we're going to need to tighten up the defence, because if we lose May and have a similar defence going into next season that we did this season, we're not going to stand a chance. And I hate to say it, but it simply comes down to the reason we are where we are in the league is simply because of how many goals we've scored. And that is, you know, credit to the attacking ability, because technically, if you look at it on paper, we've been one of the better attacking sides this season. At times, you know, we have had our 0-0s and boring 1-0s, but at the same time, you know, we have had fantastic kind of attacking passages regularly throughout this season. And it's kind of strange to say that based off last season, because last season, even though we won the title, we didn't score an incredible amount of goals. So it's a strange one, but I think we certainly need to invest in a goalkeeper. I think Owen Evans, you know, I think he was fantastic for us when he came on loan in the 2019-20 season in League 2. However, unfortunately, this season we've leaked too many goals. You know, we've conceded 80 League 1 goals this season. You know, that's more than majority of the teams in the league. You know, that's only less than 2 of the teams in the relegation zone. And also Morecambe and Fleetwood. Other than that, you know, it's no more or no less. So it's clearly an issue, and it's been an issue and a point of anger for, I think, a lot of Cheltenham fans this season. And, you know, we're not expecting to concede none. You know, we're a new team to this league coming into this season. However, it's just the defence in general has simply not been good enough. And you look at the assets that we do have in that back line, and you think, it shouldn't be conceding that many goals. There's only one man to turn to, and that is the goalkeeper, unfortunately. So if I'm going to give Owen Evans a ranking, I don't think 100% of the time he's been dreadful. However, I do think he's probably been one of our worst summer signings throughout the whole of this season. You know, Scott Flinders should really be our established second choice goalkeeper, and unfortunately, you know, he has been in a lot of the games this season the starting goalkeeper. So I think that's a main issue. So if I'm going to rank Owen Evans, like I said, I don't think he's been terrible the whole time, but I think based on in general and looking over the whole span of the 46 league games that we've played this season, I'm going to have to give Owen Evans a rating of 4 out of 10. That is, I really don't think he's been up to scratch, you know, on average across all of this season. Right, so, personally think Owen Evans has been okay. 6.5 out of 10, however, quality distribution needs to improve on massively. Yeah, 100%. I think when we re-signed Owen Evans, I think one of the things I was excited for was his distribution. That was the thing that stuck out to me. in the 1920 season when he came on loan in January. I think that was the thing that stuck out to me, is that his distribution was so much better than Scott Flinders. You know, he would find someone from the other side of the pitch easily and quickly. And this season, it's just like, since we've had him that last time, it almost seems like he's completely lost it. It almost seems like it's just gone out the window, which is unfortunate. And yeah, I just think his distribution has really, really decreased in quality. So you've made a very good point there. Owen Evans was class, but not as good. 5 out of 10. I don't know about class. He's had some very, very good games. I'll admit that. Like, he's had the odd incredible game, but it's just not been consistent enough. 4 out of 10, Evans. Bought in for potential resale value. A club like us needs an experience, not necessarily an old goalkeeper. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't even think it's necessary experience. It's just a case of a good goalkeeper at this level, whether they've got experience or not. I think, you know, the amount of loanees that we bring in that have never played a professional game of football, that just hit the ground running and are just absolutely fantastic. I think experience at this level isn't necessarily a huge problem. I think it's just quality. Unfortunately, we just haven't had that quality in between the sticks this season. Trying to get Josh Griffith back. He's currently at Lincoln, and I thought he was decent when he was over. And I've been making that point a few weeks back, in terms of the only reason Josh Griffiths didn't come back to Cheltenham was because West Brom wanted him to make a step up to a higher team. We finished 2 places above Lincoln in the league this season. You know, so he's been injured. You know, he's currently recovering. I don't see why we don't go for him. You know, they're going to want to send him back out on loan. You know, West Brom are struggling in the Championship, but they know even them. Josh Griffiths is great. He probably can have Championship quality, but at this point, I just think they're going to want to send him back out on loan again. So I feel like that is a good option. The distribution's not been great this season. Yeah, it hasn't. Evans made more saves than the majority of the keepers in the league. Yeah, and it's a good point. It is a good point, but you look at the amount of... You look at the goals that we have conceded, and you do think to yourself, like, he's pulled off some fantastic saves, but at the same time, he doesn't cope well with pressure. You know, which sounds silly to say, because one of his best attributes is saving penalties. I think he's saved 3 penalties over the course of this season. Whether that's... actually, no, 2 of those that I remember are in penalty shootouts. So actually, that's maybe not... a 100% thing. But it's just, I look at the goals we have conceded, and it's a worry. And yes, it's distributed across the whole defence, but I think on paper our defence, it hasn't been great. But I just think you can't. You just can't put it all on the defence, unfortunately, because you look at Owen Evans' distribution throughout the season as well, and it certainly deserves that 4 out of 10 rating. But there you go. Defenseman, help goalkeeper. No matter who the goalkeeper is, but definitely need number 1 in the summer. Yeah, no, 100%. Like, we do need to bolster that defence. You know, it's likely that we'll lose Boyle. I think Boyle was a great defender, but whether you like it or not, he has not been the same in terms of consistency over the whole of this season. And I hate to say it, because he's a top lad and he is a top player, but this season he has been a bit shaky at times. His passing isn't 100%. He just hasn't had that same confidence, unfortunately. But if we get a good deal for him, then who knows? But I can't see us keeping him. And he's bringing someone to replace Boyle, perhaps another lone defender like Pollock, potentially. Yeah, I think Griffiths will play for West Brom next season. I don't know, because I think maybe if he'd have seen out the whole of his loan spell at Lincoln, I think potentially, you know, he was doing absolutely brilliantly at Lincoln. But I think at this point, they're going to want to send him out on loan again. And because of the season that they've had in the Championship, they haven't done as well as, you know, they want to, or what their aspirations are. They're not going to want to loan into another Championship side, so they're going to want to loan into a League One side. So I feel like we may as well at least register our interest. But yeah, Lincoln, Seagulls are fun. Well, having said that though, in the spell that he was in the starting 11, and that he before he was injured, before I think who was their other keeper? I think it was Long or whatever his name is. They were like, he was making a huge stamp on every game. Like, I remember, I think there was one game where he made an incredible triple save. It might have been Burton away for them. And he was just unbelievable in that game. And I think that just sums up, how good he can be. So I don't see why we don't register our interest in him. But anyway, that is the goalkeeper position discussed. We will now move on to someone who I believe was our second signing of the summer transfer window, and that is Elliot Bonds. Now, this is a very interesting one because throughout the season, my opinion on Elliot Bonds has gone from this to this. When he re-signed for us and he played in cup games and he played the odd bit of league action, he was terrible. He was terrible, and I hate to say it, he was not good enough. We sent him on loan to Kidderminster. I have a mate who's a Kidderminster fan, and he was absolutely raving about him. And I thought, okay, that's good to know. It's good that he's doing well. But there's a big transition between League One and Kidderminster Harriers. And, he came back from his loan spell, and his opening 2 games back, he didn't look any different. And then the Sunderland game, I don't know what happened. He turned into a different player. And from then on, he has been probably one of our best midfield assets in terms of passing, defending, attacking, the lot. He's been absolutely brilliant. And I can now see what Duff and the coaches saw in him when they wanted to sign him. And I think, the use of, if you look at the Elliot Bonds signing, I think it makes you realise that we just do need to trust Duff more. We've made a lot of interesting signings. I don't think one of them has turned out to be bad. The interesting ones anyway. Maybe other than, I don't know, Christian Norton, because that one came a bit out of the blue, and that's another summer signing. That one came a bit out of the blue, and he was pretty poor. But, Elliot Bonds, what a signing. If I'm going to rank him, I think over the course of the whole season, I'm going to have to give him a 7. If it was just based on the time after his loan spell, I'd probably give him a 9. But I think it's unfair to give him that because we're basing it across the whole season. So we'll give him a 7 out of 10. But fantastic player. He's been so good this season, 8 out of 10. We'll give Bonds a 7 or an 8. I think he deserves credit. He improved a lot, as you said. So the screen versus Sunderland and been consistently solid. Yeah, I think he's just he's just gained his confidence. I think there was always a player in him, there must have been, but he's just gained his confidence, and I think that's clear to see because we would know if it was a one-off performance in terms of he played incredibly at Sunderland, and it's very hard to continue if you don't continue that form if you don't have the confidence. And since that Sunderland game, I think that was. I'm trying to remember how long ago that was and how many games we had left at that point. Maybe 12 to 15, and actually maybe less. I'm not 100% sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But about 10 or 12 games left at that point. And every single game after, he played to that quality. So I think it was just the confidence that he needed. And it's fantastic, to be honest. Bonds an 8 out of 10 for me. He's been very good for us since he came back, 100%. Someone boosted his confidence by more. And I think that's what he needed because getting game time against, a quality League One outfit, in a sellout crowd, and to score an absolute belter like that and play that well across the whole of the 90 minutes or across the whole of the time he was on the pitch. I can't remember if he was subbed. That's enough to rocket your confidence, and I'm just so glad we've finally unlocked that with him. We've already kind of touched on Christian Norton, so we're not going to go into him too much. Matty Pollock. Now, this is an interesting one for me. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. However, at times he has also had the odd hiccup. Now, I think as a young footballer, that's completely understandable. He's up till this point, he's only played League 2 football at Grimsby. Probably their best player. I think he finished up in the season that Grimsby got relegated. I'm pretty sure, that was last season, but last season I'm pretty sure he was Grimsby's top goal scorer from centre-back. He was their best player by a mile, hence why Watford signed him. And I think he's been absolutely brilliant for us. Obviously, like I say, he's a young player. in a much bigger league, surrounded by much better players in this league. I can't fault him for his hiccups. I think that is going to have to affect the rating somewhat. And once again, the amount of goals conceded, whether it's his fault or not, as a unit, that is going to affect his rating. But, you know, I think he's been fantastic over the course of the season. He's scored some good goals as well. He's a very passionate lad, etc. But if I'm going to give him a rating, we'll go for a 7. I think we'll go for another 7. I think he's been solid, and he will be missed, but he's going to go on to big things. You know, he's got the desire, he's got the passion. I remember when we first signed him, he said, you know, his aspirations is to be the best centre-back in world football. You can't fault the admiration, you know, and who knows? You know, he's a quality player, and he's still young. Watford, obviously, are going to try and send him on loan to a higher League One or Championship club. Whether they can do that or not is another question. I think the in general perception of the amount of goals he conceded this season may knock his CV a bit, if you like. But I think him as an individual player can go far. So yeah, 7 out of 10 in my opinion. 7 out of 10 for Pollock. He only scored 3 in the league for Grimsby. Yeah, I think it must have been overall. I think he scored more than that in all competitions. I don't know the official figure, but I know that he was their top scorer, whether it was in all competitions or whatever. But obviously they did get relegated that season, unfortunately. But, you know, again, Watford signed them. You take Pollock on loan. I do think he's, you know, there is going to be clubs looking at him, but whether he's going to get that big step up going into next season, I don't know. He maybe could do a bit of a Josh Griffiths and go to a slightly higher League One side. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big jump for him this summer in terms of changing clubs. But I certainly don't think he'll come back to Cheltenham, that's for sure. Right. Kyle Joseph. This is an interesting one for me. I think he was very inconsistent. And arguably for 2 of the games that he played for us, we did have to play him in wing back. So it's a difficult one, but I think in the games that he was played in position, I think, you know, it's a case of it. There's certainly a player in Kyle Joseph, but I just don't think he 100% suited us. You know, the best memory I have of him was the brace that he scored against Morecambe. 2 absolutely beautiful goals. The first one, a volley into the bottom right, and then the second, a left foot curved shot off the post and into the left corner. Yeah, it's tough because I don't think he was at his best for Cheltenham. You know, it's a shame that he ended up going back to Swansea. I think I would have liked to see him stay on for longer, just to see what he had in him. But yeah, I just don't think he wasn't the right player for our attack. But, you know, whether he's a good player or not and was a good player on his own, I don't think he was the right player for our squad. Get your ratings in the chat for Kyle Joseph if you wish. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one to rank him. Because like I said, I don't think he was awful, but I just don't think he was at his 100%. You know, he's you know, he didn't score a load of goals in his time. But it's just, you know, he had the odd fantastic game, and unfortunately just didn't continue it over the course of all of his games. Because on his day he would be absolutely brilliant, and then, you know, on other days he wouldn't be. So if I'm going to give Joseph a rating, I think I'm just going to give him a bog standard 5 out of 10. I think if he'd have continued his quality over the course of all of his games, or most of his games, it would have been a 6 or a 7, but I think it's just he was far too inconsistent. And again, he was only at the club for a short time, so it's tough to say, but that from what I've seen of him, that's what I'm going to give him, unfortunately. Danny Williams really scored 5 this season. Thought he only scored 1 goal. He scored against Crewe. He scored against Wickham. He scored against Shrewsbury. He scored loads at the start of the season. He scored. I'm trying to remember now. I can't exactly remember. I know, those are the three I remember. I'll try and go back and have a look now because I know they were the opening few games of the season. Not against Fleetwood, not against Burton. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who because I know. Yeah, I know he scored a few, but I don't know. Joseph Ross says 70's been decent, fair enough. Excited to see our new signings for next season. Yeah, I mean that's always an exciting factor, isn't it? You know, the different loan signings coming in, etc. George Lloyd Kerr, of anyone. I mean, he certainly improved this season. Because terrorised Morecambe defence that night, unreal, honestly. Streets won't forget that performance. I got bottle in playoffs, yeah, they are, unfortunately. Scored 4 in the league and 1 in the FA Cup game. So yeah, it's there you go. Right, anyway. Moving on. Up next, we're getting through most of these now. The summer signings. So, here's an interesting one. It is an interesting one. Dylan Barker's. I don't even recall him starting a single game. I think he's come off the bench. To be fair, we've seen so little of him, but from what we have seen of him, I don't think he's that bad of a player. I think Dylan Barker is a solid player. We just haven't played him at all. So you can't really rank him. But I think, you know, in the times that we have brought him off the bench for the final 5 minutes of a game or whatever, I really don't think he's been that bad. So it's a weird one, is Dylan Barker's, but right. What ones have I missed? Let me just go back through. Just checking. Oh yeah. Kyle Vassell. Right, Kyle Vassell. I missed him. He was at the top of the list. Obviously, you know, he's had interest from America prior to signing for us. We managed to capture a signature. So I'm going to say your place. Fair enough then. Yeah, Vassell he was solid, but I just think once again, I just don't think he suited the team. I think he was a bit too much of a. I don't really know how to describe Vassell. Yeah, it's a tough one because I think he's certainly a decent striker. You know, he does have quality, but I think maybe in our squad at this level, it was tough to say. You know, in the time that he was here, he did score goals. You know, I remember him when he played at Rotherham. I remember him scoring an absolute screamer, and I want to say it was in an FA Cup game, but I can't remember who against for them. I think, yeah, I just think he wasn't what in respect similar to Joseph, to be honest, but I think they're totally different footballers. Vassell, that striker who would always annoy defenders due to his strength, but didn't suit our team. 5. I'd probably give a 5 as well. You know, he scored the odd goal, but he just missed too many big chances. I feel like in respects he was very similar to Christian Norton in terms of the amount of key chances that he got given and the amount of key chances that he missed. I think he was basically there just to get in opposition players' heads, and on a lot of occasions he did do that. Can't recall what game it was, but I remember him needing to get a replacement shirt because the front of it was completely ripped. But yeah, versus Hull. Hey, we've got a Rotherham fan in here. See, I do know my stuff. I remember him scoring a screamer. But yeah, Vassell, for me, I'm going to give him a 5 because I just think he did score goals in his time, but unfortunately, just wasn't really the right fit. And obviously in January he did leave. Who was it? San Diego Loyal, I believe it was, the American side. Anyway, have I missed any summer signings other than the one that I want to mention now? Yes, I have. So, Taylor Perry. again, we touched on him earlier on. Again, it's tough to know, but I think in the time that he was here, he's probably maybe potentially even better than Callum Wright. And that's surprising to say. I think in the games that he did play, he probably did at the time have more of an impact than Callum Wright did. And that's crazy to say, looking at Callum Wright's figures and quality throughout the course of this season. But I do think in the time that Taylor Perry was here, I think he had a massive, massive impact on every single game he played in. And yeah, I genuinely do think that if we do get Taylor Perry back next season, that is going to be a huge, huge positive. Obviously, we've registered interest in him on loan already. And I do hope that we do get him back, because I can honestly quite confidently say that he is an absolutely brilliant player. And we do need him back for next season. I think it's as simple as that. Because I had been aware of him in the Wolves Academy prior to him signing for us. He's a very attacking midfielder, similar to Callum Wright. He picks up a lot of goals at academy level, and an exciting player as well. So it's it's certainly a player that I'd like to see back again next season. And even just from what I've seen of him, I'll probably only give him a 6, purely because it's tough to know. We only saw a few games of him, but in the time that he was here, fantastic player, and 100% would like to see him again next season. Apparently Taylor Perry will be here next season. Well, we've registered our interest, that's for sure. We've registered our interest in him a long time ago. But yeah. Okay. We're taking back on loan if we can next season. Yeah. Right. So finally, I believe I haven't missed out anyone else, so I'll just double check once again. Yep, that's all January. So obviously that was a free agent, so I'm not going to mention him. Okay, so the man, the myth, the legend, probably our most effective player throughout the season. Obviously, I could go on about this for hours, so I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. Callum Wright. Wow. I mean, what more do you need to say? Obviously, we had already had him on loan for a season. We can't really say that. It was just an incredible piece of scouting. Obviously, initially it was to get him on loan in January in the League 2 season. However, we already knew we wanted him back. Leicester sent him back on loan to us, and the rest is history. 7 assists, 9 goals from midfield, and that's just the hardcore stats. That's just the concrete figures. The quality that he showed, the effect he had. The positive aspects and effects that he had on the team. The excitement that he brought to the squad and the fans, when he received the ball, he was basically the player that Dan Crowley tried to be when he came in for us. Because Dan Crowley said, "I'm a player that wants to get players, get the fans excited and up on their feet." And unfortunately, he couldn't do it. But throughout the season, Callum Wright has certainly done that. And yeah, it's as simple as, he has been nothing other than a 10 out of 10, and he is going to be a Premier League player in future. That is highly, highly, highly likely. To say that he's one of the technically more skilled players in this league, in terms of on the ball skill, awareness, passing ability as well. Some of the best passing ability I've potentially ever seen in a player at Cheltenham Town. And obviously I am only 16, but I have seen a lot of good quality midfielders in the time that I've been watching. He is possibly the best. Honestly, the amount of times that he can just switch the play with a fantastic ball over the top. The one that I remember most is I think it was Bristol Rovers in the Carabao Cup, and he thumped it up to Alfie May, and it was a perfect looping pass from well inside our own half, over the top of I was about to say Brighton for some reason, Bristol defence, and it was just perfectly onto May's feet, and we managed to score as well. But yeah, Callum Wright is nothing short of a 10 out of 10. That if you think he was any less than a 10 out of 10, leave. Gonna be honest, Dan Crowley is definitely the most technical footballer I've ever seen in Cheltenham. Yeah, but I feel like again he was almost too technical for us. I think he was too technical for the players around him. He tried to play at a speed that we don't play, unfortunately. I think that's why he didn't excel with us. Crowley wasn't bad, he just didn't shoot. Yeah, Callum Wright 10 out of 10, 100%. Came on against Sunderland and just injected new life into the team, 100%. 100%, mate. Right, that is the summer signings discussed. The next topic that I want to touch on in the remainder of this... I've swallowed more again. In the remainder of this stream, I'll probably be going for another 15 minutes or so. So I do hope you have enjoyed this, and let me know if you do want to see more of these in the future. We are going to be doing one of these for the end of the League One season once the playoffs have finished. So stay tuned for that. I was making the thumbnail for that already today, so hey, we're prepared. The next thing I do want to talk about is who do we think the top 3 players in the squad have been over the course of this season? And to a certain extent, I feel like 2 of those are very easy to say, but the third, I'll be interested to see what other people say. So, before I say mine, I think I'll hear yours. So, what is your top 3 Cheltenham Town players from this season? And try and make it over the course of the whole season as well. This is completely unrelated, but if you had to choose another team than Cheltenham to support, who would it be? I mean, I don't really think about that, so that's a tough question to answer. I can't really that's I can't really answer that because I've never known any difference, so it's tough to know. Best player I've seen play to Rollin Raiders, Phil Foden, yeah, 100%. Next season you should do a weekly roundup live stream for Cheltenham or League One, and that is exactly what I'm planning to do. That is exactly what I'm planning to do already. So next season the plan is to reintroduce match previews, and then also do like a weekly kind of talk show. Hopefully get other people on as well. Next season, I want to take the interaction level of the channel to another level. Obviously, this season I've introduced the whole thing with the score predictions, which I think is fantastic, and it's crazy to see the amount of people that get involved. And obviously, I can only include a handful of those. But on Saturday, the amount of score predictions, we must have had about 40. Obviously, I can only include about 10 of those. But it's crazy to see how many people are interacting, and I do massively appreciate it. Anyway, back to the good stuff. So, Ivan or Ivan, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry, says May, Pollock and Wright. Blair, 100%. Alfie May, Callum Wright, Matty Blair. Blair plays with the badge. May, Wright, Blair. May, Wright, Pollock. May, Wright, Blair. May, Wright, Boyle, interesting. Circum and Blair, joint third place, sorry. Lloyd, May, Wright. Oh, Lloyd. I was saying Williams, third, great replacement for Hussey. Again, I would say him, but he only came in January, so it's tough to know. Well, that's surprising. Yeah, that's the only thing I think as well, is that Pollock is just a bit too slow, unfortunately. So, Alfie May, Callum Wright, Kiana Tete. And again, that's an interesting one, but I don't really think I can name a January transfer window thing. Signing, sorry. I think it's probably unfair because, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that, lads, but at the end of the day, you know, we both do our content, we both enjoy it. You know, I appreciate all the comments about that kind of stuff, but, you know, he's doing his own thing, I'm doing my own thing. So there's no competition between us whatsoever. I just want to clear that up. Yeah, simple as that. Right, my top 3 players then. So obviously, Alfie May, simple as that. Callum Wright, we've already discussed Callum Wright. And third for me, I have gone for Matty Blair. I saw it in a few of your boys' top threes, and I just think it's tough between a select few players, but I think over the course of the whole season and the overall quality that they've brought to the squad in terms of attack and defence, and the effort they're putting into the games every week, I think he just 100% deserves to be in there. He's scored the odd goal and he's scored some important goals as well. I think, the defensive quality he brings as well, fantastic. He's got that pace on the right-hand side. He exchanges the odd pass and then he can whip a ball in very nicely. I think he's had a massive, massive impact on this season. And I think it's just as simple as that's what makes him stand out from others. I think at times this season Circum's been fantastic, but the only reason I didn't name him over Matty Blair is purely because I also think that he did, around when we played Wimbledon away, in the league that is, he was hitting a very, very, very poor patch. And I think that select few games around that time of the season, I think is the only reason why I've named Blair over him. But yeah, that is my top three. So, one of the final things I want to talk about today, because I do want to keep this live as short as possible. I don't want to go on waffling for too long. So, I want to see if you lads could pick a starting 11 from the best players we've seen this season, whether they're currently at the club or not, whether they got recalled from their loans, whether they got sent back to the club for rehabilitation, whatever it may be. What would be your best Cheltenham Town starting 11 from the players you've seen this season? Let me know in the chat, and then I'll give you mine. And I haven't actually written this down, so this will be off the top of my head. But I think I have an idea of who I'm going to name. Evans played some good saves in key games. He has, but at the same time, he's also done the opposite of that at times. I think Ben Williams will make a massive difference to our squad next season. And that was another player that I really wanted to name, because I think actually overall he's a more valuable player than Matty Blair. But I just thought, purely because we've only had him since January, and he got injured, and he had a suspension from the red card, I think it's unfair to, pop him in. But in the meantime, while you boys are typing your starting 11s, please do feel free to like the stream. I would massively appreciate it. Also, please do feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. We are so close to 1,200 subscribers, so if you could help me hit that in the near future, that would be massively appreciated. We are currently on 1,191. We are 9 away. So it'd be fantastic to hit that today if possible. But yeah, so I will give you my starting 11 now. So, in terms of overall performances, I think you have to give the number one spot to Owen Evans. I think it's kind of just a case of who played the more games, and he did. So that's a case of goalkeeper. The wing backs, I'll go for Ben Williams and Matty Blair. The three at the back, I will go for Pollock, Long, and Boyle. I think Raglan just maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's a case of who do I go for, Boyle or Raglan. I think it's quite even, to be honest, overall. Midfield, this is a tough one. Bonds, Wright, and we'll say Circum. I think, other than the poor patch of form, I think Circum deserves to be in there. And the front two, Alfie May and Keon Atete. That is my starting 11 that I would play based on this season. I think that's the team of the season, if you like, for me. But I think there's other players that are in with a shout, but I feel like a lot of them just haven't played enough games. Like, I would probably put Colkett in over Circum. I think Charlie Colkett is a very underrated player, and he's certainly got quality in him, but he just hasn't had enough game time for me to name him in it. And if I'm basing it off of this season, I can't really put him in, but I think in terms of overall quality, 100% could be in there. Evans, Williams, Boyle, Pollock, Long, Blair, Bonds, Colquitt, Wright, May and Atete. So that's exactly the same as mine, all bar Colquitt. Evans, Boyle, Raglan, Pollock, Matty Blair, Ben Williams, Callum Wright, Elliot Bonds, Crowley, Atete and May. See, I feel like in terms of quality, I think Crowley would be in there, but at the same time, I feel like in terms of effect on the squad, I just can't really put him in because he didn't. In the time that he was here, we didn't really pick up form drastically. I don't really think he had a colossal impact on the squad. My bad, name 12, take Lloyd out. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Evans, Blair, Pollock, Boyle, Evans, Blair, oh god, I've read it wrong. Evans, Blair, Boyle, Pollock, Raglan, Williams, Wright, Perry, Bonds, May, Atete. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I would 100% name Perry in there. But again, we've only seen a few games of him, so I think in terms of the way I worded it, I would probably put it in. But now I'm thinking about it as just a team of the season thing. But in terms of the best players that I've seen, I would probably put Perry in there. So maybe Perry over Serkin, because I do think Perry is drastically better than Serkin. But in terms of throughout the whole season, it's a tough one. But yeah. So, final 5 minutes. We'll do a bit of a Q&A. So if you've got any questions in general, feel free to ask. And I'll also give you an update on what is going to be happening on the channel. I'm not going to say too much, but I will say there is going to be a video out. I don't know 100% if it will be out tomorrow because I do have a busy day tomorrow. There'll be a video out tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm going to try and get a video out next Saturday. But again, I can't say too much, but there may be plans to go to a game. But I don't know if it's going to happen 100%. And also, we do have plans to put in a weekly video and a weekly show on the channel throughout the summer. So, yeah. But anyway, that's the little update thing. So, feel free to get any questions in. But there will be ranking videos coming out for fans to come to Wadden Road. That'll be coming out soon. Away days, that'll be coming soon as well. And I'll be building a team of the season as well. So feel free to keep an eye out for that. Sorry. Are you still going to go to away games? Of course I am. New hat, mate. I'll have a look. I still haven't looked, but I'll be having a look into it. Who's your favourite player? I mean, from this season, it's been Wright, but obviously he's gone. So we'll say May. What's your favourite Cheltenham game you've been to this season? Sunderland at home. Evans, Blair, Ben Williams, Bonds, Callum Wright, Pollock, Lauren Keelan, Zeta and Alfie May. I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same as mine, right? I don't know what way you're asking that, but Sunderland, yeah, same. Colquitt impressed me lately. I think it's I 100% think Atete needs to get in there. Why have I said Atete? Colquitt needs to get into the squad. Sorry. How much was over the season? I don't know. I haven't kept track, but I've been to 16 away games. And I've been to a few ground hops as well, but obviously that doesn't count as being with Cheltenham. So I've seen the new home kit, same. Do you think Wayne Rooney will start Derby? 100%. 100%. What is your team rating on FIFA? I think it's a 191 or a 190. I don't know. I haven't really played FIFA in ages. Okay, right. I thought you were bantering. Like a friend, yeah, I'd say so. I don't talk to him regularly. Well, I message him every now and again. We exchange messages every now and again. But I just want to clear up. Me and him have absolutely no beef. I feel like a lot of people feel like just because we both do our own thing at Cheltenham games, we just automatically have beef. For example, if I have an opinion, sometimes I do say, oh, I have this opinion about, his videos, blah, 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 I'm not saying that behind his back, I'll say that to him in terms of, we give each other constructive criticism. He does it to me, I do it to him, so it's a case of almost, we help each other out. Like, there's no bad blood at all between us, and I just want to clear that up. And I know there'll be banter about it, and I don't have a problem with that, but I just want to, like, for those genuinely wondering, like, there is no, like, we're both doing our own thing. We're both doing what we love, and we're both just having a laugh. Like, it is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, I have my opinions on him. He has his opinions on me. But at the end of the day, it doesn't stop us from being mates. Like, I respect what he does, and I assume he respects what I do. So, there you go. Thoughts on Hutchinson? Thought you said Wickham was your favourite before. Yeah, well, I feel like in terms... Oh, well, it's a tough one, isn't it, really? In terms of occasion, Sunderland, but in terms of... Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough question. Best game Wickham because of the comeback. Best moment of Sunderland. Yeah. That's probably what I'd say as well. Favourite away day. Now, this is one that I would either say Wickham in terms of the football, but I think probably Morecambe. It's the only away win I've seen all season. But also it was just a really good day. As well. So yeah, I think it's just overall, like, Morecambe is probably my preferred one, even though we didn't take too many fans. You know, it's not exactly a massive game. Well, it was a massive game in our season at the time, but obviously it's not a massive away day in terms of, you know, we're going to this big club, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, we'll give my courtesy to certain game again. Yeah, that's the one thing I'd do. I'd love to go, like, back in time to certain games if I could. I'm absolutely buzzing for WA next season. Same, but unfortunately, lads, I do have to say this. I believe I'm missing the opening 2 games of the season. Obviously, the fixtures aren't out. It's like 2 or 3, but basically, we've booked a holiday that, what we now know, runs into the start date of the season. Which means I'll probably be missing 2 games. So, I'll try and make up for it throughout the season, but as long as... I'm just hoping I don't miss any big games. Because, you know, I've already missed Sunderland away this season, and if they're in the league again next season, if I miss that or Derby, I'll be gutted. But yeah. So I haven't seen us win since Warsaw, crikey. I think you should record your vlogs with a GoPro attached to your house. A hat. Oh, mate, honestly, can you imagine? Oh, that'd be sick. Who wants to get rid of in the summer? Well, I think, are you talking about selling or, like, release lists? What are you kind of saying? Like, what category are you coming over, or just in general? Can't wait for our screen. Probably tickets go fast though. Thing is, like, even though it's a derby day, it doesn't make the away occasion of Forest Green any better. It's literally the worst. Like, I genuinely think it's, like, looking at Gillingham, like, it's not far off, if not worse. To be honest, what Forest Green needs is a bloody concourse. They've just got a path down the back of the away stand. That's it. They need a proper concourse. It's dreadful. And they should sell some proper food as well. Could be on holiday, so I want to see the fixtures before we book it. Yeah, I mean, we've already booked ours, and unfortunately it costs us a lot of money, so we're not going to try and mess it about much. Missed the first time. I'm in the States, say fair play. Pretty sure I'm assuming you booked the holiday Saturday. I'm just Forest Green and Derby. I'm just praying that, like, yeah, I don't know. Players who are out of contract. I'm not going to lie, I don't know the current status on contracts. But I'll say in general. I'll just say in general. So, players that I feel like we need to get rid of. I think Hutchinson goes. Because unfortunately he was just one of them kind of experimental ones by the sounds of it. Like, it's tough to know because there's very few players in this squad who are dead weight. You know, they all get the odd bit of game time here and there. It's tough. It's really tough. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, I feel like there's certain players who we've had for so long now and are just, I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult. Getting rid of players is more of a difficult topic to decide on than keeping players, I think. I think obviously it's quite apparent the ones that are going to be going, and signing for other teams. Like it's just it's quite obvious. Like we're gonna lose Boyle, pretty obvious. Probably will lose May. I hope we don't. And like I say, we're in prime position to keep him with the 2-year contract. But the amount of money we're gonna get offered, we can't really turn down, unfortunately. I don't know. I can see a few players going. Hutchinson signing the new contract. I hope not. Can't wait for the new umpire review. Moving grass on the pitch. Oh dear. So yeah, Wickham away. It was crazy when we scored. I was on the stairs behind shit. Mate, I think everyone was on the stairs at that point. Has already been offered a new contract. Has he? Have I missed something there? Have I missed that? I like to think I'm quite active on Twitter. I've clearly missed something then. Oh well, brilliant. Oh, fantastic. Watch out if they go to the Championship side, wait to go for League One. It's weird. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird because I feel like it's crazy to see how much better Alfie May has done this season in comparison to last season. But yeah, May will go to Saturday bigger team. Going like Stockton, leave as well to bigger team. Yeah, it's just a case of like we have more authority and decision over the result of getting rid of him and keeping him based on the new contract. However, it's just not gonna. We ain't gonna keep him. It's just like it's so unlikely. So unlikely. John Palmer said it. Yeah. Okay, I missed that and I apologise. I like to think I see all of his tweets, but clearly not. I go onto Twitter. I can't believe this. I go onto Twitter and the first thing I see, I don't know if you can see that. It's literally the first tweet I see at the top of my top. Brilliant. You hate to see it. Right. Anyway, heard my other interested in. Yeah, they are. Got interest from India as well, I believe. But yeah, right, lads. We've been live for about an hour or so. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope I've kind of discussed enough. The events of this season. I feel like it's been a bit of waffle at times to a certain extent, but what a season for the club. Making history once again for the second year on the bounce, the highest finish in the club's history. Some incredibly memorable results and some memories for the fans that we'll never forget. I want to thank you all for the incredible support throughout this season with all the vlogs and the content in general. And the amount of we've grown and the quality that's improved over the course of the season has been absolutely crazy. And I want to thank you all for sticking around. I hope you have all enjoyed the content from this season. And like I say, there's much more to look forward to over this summer. So do stay tuned for that. But yeah, once again, for one final time, thank you all so much for this season. I'll never forget it. Made some incredible memories, what with obviously YouTube, but of course football itself as well. That's all that matters. But yeah, thank you to each and every single one of you. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay tuned for a video in the next couple of days. It's a nice video to end the season, I've got to say. But it's taken a long time to edit. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Follow the Twitter and Instagram as well. That is in the top corner of the screen. I think I'm pointing in the right direction. But yeah, like I said, thank you for tuning in. Have a fantastic evening, lads. Stay